What up, guys? So, I want to talk about the transition phase from high school to college in a girl's life in this video. What happens to the girl when she goes from high school to college? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've experienced this a lot. When I know a girl or I knew a girl back when I was in high school and in my early college days when I was still talking to juniors and seniors in high school and I was a freshman and sophomore in college because the state that I live in, the age of consent is 16 here. So I'm not breaking any law. But anyways, what I noticed was that even back in those days, when we didn't have feminism at its full capacity as we see it today, even then girls were starting to act a little bit different, and that little bit different ended up being a lot different when they went from high school to college. So let's talk about a couple things here. Let's talk about the idea of females going to college. We all know that this wasn't the thing when college first came in, when college first became a thing. It was the majority of male students that would go to college. At first, it was majority of people who were very talented or had the money, right? And then eventually more and more general regular people started going to college, but still at that time males were dominating in numbers when it came to the number of students that went to college. And then now in 2020, we already know the stats. It's like 60% of women are in college and 40% are male, something like that, right? Something along those lines. There's more females than males. Now, why do people go to college? Simple. After college, finish your college, get a degree, get a job, and now you have money because you're not going to want to live under your parents for the rest of your life. Your parents don't want that, you don't want that, society doesn't want that. So to build a life, pretty much, to have a steady income, to have a steady paycheck to paycheck, that's why you go to college, to make money, to get an education, they say, right? That the education that you use to make money. That's the ultimate goal. At least we can find some common ground in this, right? In this video. Okay. Now, yeah, you can tell me about the prestige and the value of the degree, this and that, but that's all BS. Anybody who's in college knows that unless you're going in there for any kind of STEM majors or any kind of doctorate degree, or what you call it, what's some of the other prestigious degrees? That's pretty much it. Like STEM and medical field, right? Or like if you're going to pre-law and end up becoming a lawyer, those type of things. Besides that, everything else in college that people study, it's okay. Everybody has a college degree now. It's not really that prestigious anymore. Everybody has college degrees. Everybody has student loan debt. Yeah, so what? You're a teacher at some elementary school. So what if you went to college for English? So what? You went to college for psychology, and you're a psychologist now. Nobody cares about any of that. It's these the STEM majors and the doctor and the lawyer degrees are once or two in a dozen. When we have dozens and dozens of other liberal arts and other worthless degrees, everybody's going there for, right? So that aspect is kind of just out of the window. So the main aspect that people look for nowadays when they go to college is the ability to make money, to make a living out of it. Because that's, if you look at their life after college, that's all they're doing is going to their 9 to 5, and that's their plan, is live off of that for the rest of their life. And that's a very poor and depressing plan. But anyways, I don't want to get into that. So when a woman enters the college, when a young girl and a young woman enters the college scene, automatically her in the back of her head, subconsciously she knows she needs to finish the degree, she needs to get a job, and then live happily afterwards, right? What does that? How does that sound familiar, fellas? It sounds familiar when we think about the fact that men started going to college for the exact same reason, and men are still going to college for the exact same reason. So what does that mean? That means that women now are trying to be like men. Like now you might say, well, duh, Zeke, that's feminism. Feminism and has already done that. Why are you making a 15-minute long video explaining about that. The reason why I'm doing this is just to show you guys that every single girl in college has bought into the feminist ideology. Now, they might be 100% feminist, they might be a 50% feminist, they might be a 20 or 10% feminist, but better believe it that they have some sort of feminism in them. You just have to believe it. Because I have not met a single girl. Like, even if you get to go up to girls who are in early childhood development degrees or education degrees, girls who have more of a incentive to finish college and start a family, even those girls are feminists at some level, form, fashion, or way. Just know that. I've been in college. I'm finishing up my fourth year. I have one more year left. I had to take an extra year because some other things happened. Um, and I have seen enough. Let's just say that I've gone to enough college parties. I've gone to enough college campuses. I was in a community college, and then I went to a 4 year. So I've been in a couple different college campuses myself to study, and I've been in enough classrooms. I've interacted with enough girls to just know that, and I've heard of enough stories to know that every single girl in college nowadays has bought into the feminist ideology at some way, shape, form, or fashion. Just believe that. And that's exactly what happens when a young girl goes from high school to college. Because not we already know not every single girl is going to college, right? Well, we already know that. There's going to be some girls who don't end up going to college. There's going to be some guys who don't end up going to college. But I'm talking about guys in here because guys are not the ones who are benefiting from feminism. Females are. Um, so when a girl finishes high school, I mean, this feminist ideology starts developing in them when they're a junior in high school, and they know they're about to go to college. They start talking about their like second semester of junior year. They start talking about college with their families and where they're gonna go, this and that. That's when it starts. So you'll see that there's a shift of personality in them. They start after they go to college. They start going out in parties more. They start getting more and more male attention. You already know what girls do out in college, right? Right. And if she's in a sorority, then oh my God, just run from her. It's just that's the worst of the barrel. So that's literally the bottom of the barrel type of girls, the sorority girls. So we already know what happens in these parties. I don't need to explain anymore. You know, they jump from guys to guys to guys all throughout their college. Like, there's some stats somewhere that said college girls, on average, sleep with 4 guys a year throughout their college, all four throughout each in every single year of their college life. So that's 16 guys by the time they graduate college, and that's a very low and conservative numbers. We all know that girls usually sleep with way more guys than that, and so when she goes into college, automatically she has this feminist ideology in the back of her head that I need to be like a man. I need to get on my 2 feet. I need to make it on my own. I need to secure the bag. And also, they're getting, on top of that, they're getting all these free male validation and male attention. Because we all already know how turned on and horny and thirsty guys are when we go see these guys out in clubs and bars and house parties and frat parties and whatnot, right? Guys are just like drooling over these chicks. We already know how thirsty guys are, how thirsty beta males are. I don't need to talk about too much on this video about that. So on top of that feminist ideology, when they're seeing that they're getting bombarded with all this male attention, now they're floating at cloud nine. They think they're invincible. They think this attention is never going to stop. They think this is how life's supposed to be, that life is wonderful and it's just sunshine and roses and this and that. And that they're the prize and they have it all, and go women and you go girl and female empowerment, all the rest of the jazz that you already know what feminists do, right? I don't need to hammer on that anymore. I've hammered on it in plenty of my other videos. So that's when they start developing this rude attitude. I didn't want to use any curse words, so I had to think about that for a second. This rude attitude, right? That's when they start buying into this entitlement attitude. Now, believe it, just remember that even when they were in high school and they were a pretty girl, they always had this entitlement attitude because at some level, shape, form, or fashion, they were getting things that they knew that they didn't deserve it, but they're still getting it just because how they look and that people want them, guys want them. But in college, magnified that 10 times. So now magnify their entitlement mindset, their rudeness 10 times. Because, first of all, they know and they've been empowered to believe that they can have it all, that they're just strong and independent as a man. And on top of that, they're seeing that they're getting so much attention no other man is getting. All these guys that they're seeing next to them in their college classes and the parties that they go to, guys don't get attention like that from women as women do. So that's when they start believing in the fact that I'm better than any man that has ever walked on this planet of this earth. And that's why when you go up to college girls, if you noticed, now I'm not telling you to go catch a case. No, figure out what the age of consent is in your state. If it's 18, you'll still find some 18-year-old high school girls. But if it's 16, you can go up talk to 17-year-olds as well, 16, 17-year-olds, if you choose to. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I'm giving you what I'm about to tell you now. This is just for an experiment. Go up to like a 16 or 17-year-old girl. Let's say you're in your early 20s or late teens. You're 19 or 20, so the age difference isn't too big. Just casually strike up a conversation and see how things go. I promise you, you'll get much better cooperation with those girls than you would with a girl that's in college. Because in her head, she's not even ready. Like, she's not prepared to be approached when she's in college anymore. In her head, she looks at you like a piece of garbage. Like, how dare you came up to her. Like, how dare you came up to me and talked to me. You're a peasant. I'm way better than you. You should be taking me out on a date just because of the fact that I exist. You should be spending money on me just because of the fact that I even gave you the time of my day. That's literally the type of mentality they end up getting when they're in college, especially the first 3 years, or freshman, sophomore, and at least halfway through their second semester of their junior year. When they start hitting the last part of the junior year and then start their senior year, that's when their looks start to go down the toilet, because that's when they're 23, 24 years old, right? Or close to that age. And that's when all this freshman 15 that they gained, that we know that when they're in college, they're just trashing their body with alcohol, bad food, no diet, and no discipline, and no workout plan. It all starts to show up because that's when their metabolism starts slowing down. And that's when the reality starts setting in, because that's when they don't get as much attention anymore as they used to when they were freshmen and sophomores themselves. Because now, every single year, there's a new group of freshmen and sophomore girls that are coming into the college scene, where guys are shifting their attention from these juniors and seniors to these new freshmen and sophomores. Because they look hotter, they look tighter, they have their body in a better state than these used up juniors and seniors do, because they've already ridden the carousel, they've already slept with so many guys that they probably don't even know the actual number. So their body's just been used up, versus these freshmen and sophomores who haven't done any of that yet. So remember all that, okay? So this is why, and I have a story to share you guys. So I was talking to this girl, and I was well, how old was I? I think this was a year and a half ago. So I was 20, about to turn 21. And she was a senior in high school. She was 18. And apparently this is what she told me, that she only slept with one guy. She only dated one guy. But she has talked to a bunch of other guys. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care how many girls she slept with. And she told me she was a virgin, and this guy that she'd been dating for three years on and off. When a girl tells you she's been dating somebody on and off, just know that she's sleeping with other guys, or she's entertaining other guys on the side. That's what being on and off means. That this is the only guy she's ever slept with. He took her virginity, this and that. I don't know how true that is. I don't really care. But I noticed that and I met her in the second on the last semester of her senior year. So she has one more semester left, and then she goes to college. I noticed that she was very cooperative because she wasn't happy in her relationship with her boyfriend. Go figure, right? 3 years, and nobody wants to be in that anymore. And now she's looking for something else on the side, and I came into the picture, and every single day she would just blow up my phone with messages. She was so clingy, this and that, right? So that summer passed, but she was still trying to make me jump through hoops to sleep with her. She was a really cute girl, really pretty, and I don't want to say what I ended up doing with her because that's that's not the point here that I'm trying to make. So fast forward to a few months, college starts. She gains 15 pounds or more. That freshman 15, she completely just changes her personality. Like she goes from 5 6 times text messages a day to maybe 5 6 times text message a month, and then fast forward a few more months. Now she doesn't even text me anymore. She texts me like every 2 to 3 months just to see that if I'm still interested in her, just to weigh her options out, which I'm not. And she figured that out already, so she moved on. And I already figured out what she was doing. I didn't need any confirmation from her, but she gave that confirmation to me. She literally told me a couple months ago, she texted me, she said, "Hey Zeke, I'm ready to settle down. I had my fun in the last semester. So how you been?" What do you think that means? Oh, no, no, no. She didn't say. She didn't only just say I had my fun last summer. She straight up explicitly said that I am done with my effing around phase, my hoe phase. Now I'm ready to settle. How you been? Now that I think about it, that's exactly what she said. And there's my confirmation. Even though I didn't need the confirmation because I knew exactly what she was doing. I'm red pilled man, so I know how things are in college. I'm in college myself. I see it every day when I look around and on my campus. But she gave me the receipt without even me asking for it. So fellas, just know that in the back of your head that once she goes into college, it's too late. So either try to find that girl, that good girl, quote unquote, that you think that she's gonna turn out to be, which she's not, especially in the West. After she enters the college scene, try to find that girl at an early age. You know, when you're in high school and you find a girl who doesn't seem like she's been ran through yet, because a lot of these high school girls are just turning completely like the college chicks nowadays. So if you try to find that girl, if you're gonna go that dating route, long term relationship route, because that's your best bet. That's when girls are at their purest and their most innocent form. A lot of them are still virgins in high school. Try to find that girl, especially like they start losing it when they're like 16. So on their sophomore year, into their sophomore year, early junior year, that's when everybody starts losing it. So try if you're close to her age in high school, try to get that girl, lock her down, and be red pill aware. You should be becoming red pill aware when you turn 14 as a man, in my opinion. And then so when you know the red pill, then you can use that and keep her in check. Have her do the things you want her to do, and not have her do the things she doesn't want to do, and make her obsessed with you. I'll have another video coming up, how to make her obsessed with you. So I hope that will also help you guys out a lot. And if you miss that window, if you can't find a girl and have her settle and this and that, if you miss that window, your next best option is improve your life, build a lifestyle to where it's nothing for you to go out on dates with pretty girls, because a lot of guys out here are broke dating. Coach Greg Adams said this. Broke dating is you're barely able to scrape some money in for yourself, but you're still going out and chasing tail and trying to take girls out on date. That's a lot of frustration. That's a lot of stress that you don't want. So that your next best option is to just build a lifestyle first, then go out and date and keep all those dates short and medium term. Do not do long term at that point, because at that point all girls are damaged. Hope this video made sense. Just know that when a girl goes from high school to college, everything changes about her. Her whole mentality changes. She thinks she's in cloud nine. She thinks she's the best thing in the world, and that's just how every girl thinks. She thinks she's the queen. So if there's every girl thinking that they're the queen, there is no queen, because there only can be one queen. So that should tell you how delusional they are. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Until next time, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and above all, stay classy.